How's it going, everybody? C-RadTV back here in our video. So, of course, it's time for another Detroit Lions 2023 NFL Draft Preview. So, in the last draft preview, we took a look at the top tight end prospects in rounds 4 through 7 of the 2023 NFL Draft class. In this video, we're going to wrap up the offensive side of ball for the draft previews for this year and take a look at the top day 3 offensive lineman prospects the Lions should take a look at. So yeah, offensive tackles, guards, and centers, and see who the Lions should possibly take a look at rounds 4 through 7 of the draft in those areas. And this will be the final draft preview for this year for the offensive side of ball. So yeah, anyway, with all that said, there's a very interesting prospects in this pool, a lot of them for sure, with how deep it is in the day 3. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Let's go. Alright, starting off with offensive tackles. The first one we're going to go over here, hailing out of Utah, standing 6'4", weighing 298 pounds. We got Braden Daniels. So for Braden, he's your prototype downfield offensive tackle, so he's very good once you get further downfield. In terms of their strengths, multi-positional experience, it'll be a huge asset for teams. Plenty of experience playing both guard and tackle. Snaps out of his stance, plenty of burst. Natural knee bender, plays with excellent leverage. Near 34-inch arms, can pass the length threshold that teams will want. Constant leg drive, can carve openings in the run game. Good balance, body control, can recover from awkward positions. Attractive eyes, which lead to timely reactions against stunts and blitzes. Good-looking frame can be molded by NFL strength and conditioning programs, and they have shocking closing speed as a second-level blocker. In terms of his weaknesses, though, playing weight was too light by NFL standards during his senior year. Projects best as an interior lineman, still limited bulk, which will leave pro teams no choice but to start him outside. Can get walked back by power too easily. Passes set, have an awkward hitch, can make adjustments difficult. Too eager to make contact and lean into his targets. Average hand speed, reaction quickness, it will hurt him against efficient pass rushers. Doesn't have the strength and control to win as a brawler. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Gerald Haskins of the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the CFL. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. Has a lot of versatility. Someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of UAB, standing 6'8", weighing 337 pounds. We got Kadeem Telford. So for Kadeem's strengths, freakishly large individual, some of the longest arms in NFL draft history at 37 inches. Hangs like branches from enormous oak tree. Surprisingly quick out of his stance for a big man. Can simply outside, outrage most of his opponents. Lockdown reps against BJ Ojari in this year's LSU matchup, which showed his potential. If you want to watch some tape on him. Great mass, anchor, allows him to eat up bull rushes. Punches powerful, controlling when it lands on target. Also listed as one of the small school studs of this draft class, because even though he may have played for a small school, he looked the part of an NFL lineman. Special length and a mean streak, it will translate well in the NFL game. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's a tackle-only prospect. Doesn't have the hand quickness or control to win inside. Leverage works against him too often. Tick late when peeling off blocks, can picking up new ones. Lets his attention drift, can slip off blocks as a result. Hands tend to drift low and out of the way in the run game. Needs to be more disciplined with his approach. Feet get locked up once he makes contact. Allows opponents to slip around him. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to now retired offensive tackle or Adrian Waddle. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Kadeem's game. Very big individual. Has the mean streak. Everything that can translate to an NFL game. Definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Florida, standing 6'5", weighing 308 pounds. We got Richard Gurage. So for Richard's strengths, savvy with his hands, won't commit, sturdy in pass protection, able to keep, won't overcommit though, sturdy in pass protection, able to keep his footing, angles when his hips and hands are working opposite of each other. Natural power generator is a run blocker. Stay composed even when his hands are getting batted out of the way. Rarely ends up on the ground. Able to reset his feet when he starts to lose ground. Plays like a veteran in terms of strength and control. Strong hands, able to latch on, can drive defenders around. Experience working on the interior, which will lead to teams viewing him as position flexibility. In terms of his weaknesses, though, average quickness and agility leads some teams to view him as an offensive guard. Has some lower body stiffness, limits his flexibility. Lacks ideal length for an offensive tackle. Will get caught at the end of long arm moves. Limited speed makes it hard to clear a path downfield for his backs. Slow twitch athlete, moves around the edge on a regular basis. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Max Sharping of the Cincinnati Bengals. Overall, there's a lot of things to like out of Richard's game. You know, it's a versatility for sure. Definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Oklahoma, standing 6'6", weighing 310 pounds. We got Wanya Morris. So for Wanya's strengths, impressive length, will be a game changer for protecting the edge. Fits the NFL prototype for build and movement skills. Sports a stiff bunch, comes out on time. Fluid second level blocker, can flip his hips, hit difficult angles. Graceful polar, precise and controlled with his steps. Surprisingly strong pass protector. Gives good depth, can hold his own against explosive pass rushers. Effective reach blocker, can hit difficult angles. In terms of weaknesses though, passes set, have a slight hitch, causing balance problems. Slender forearms, which seem to impede his strength when he works at a distance. Average power generator in run game. Average hand speed that can limit adjustability. Not a consistent finisher, even when he gets defenders on their heels. Movements can get segmented and out of sync when he has to deal with counter moves. Footwork's rudimental. Terrence to play upright on initial contact. Focus and control can slip as the play drags on. And he wasn't a consistent starter during his 2 years at Oklahoma. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Antonio Garcia of the Edmonton Elks in the CFL. Overall, there are a lot of things to like out of his game. Could do a lot of things right. You know, maybe it could be someone who view as a rotational depth piece for the offensive line for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Miami, standing 6'5", weighing 311 pounds. We got Zion Nelson. So for Zion's strengths, great weight, size, length with an impressive 84-inch wingspan at his disposal. High effort player, drives his legs, stays active in the run game. Plenty strong, should continue to improve in that regard once he reaches NFL weight room. Body type's going to wow scouts when they get around him in person. Good leverage thanks to excellent lower body flexibility. Plays well in control and pass protection. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he missed most of 2022 with an injury, and he'll be facing major questions about his health from NFL teams, so there are some few red flags right there. Average burst and long speed makes it hard to win in space. Slips off blocks too easily for a player with his size. Hands are a bit slow and wide. Angles are lackadaisical. He isn't effective with his steps. Body control has some lapses against quality athletes. Can get on his hips, thread laterally. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent offensive tackle Will Richardson. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game, but the health issues. Is it going to be a bit of a problem since those injuries included an off-season knee surgery, which forced him to shut down for the rest of 2022. So that could be some red flags. Can he stay healthy? That's a key. Maybe someone has a rotational depth piece if he can stay healthy. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Frostburg State, standing 6'4", weighing 308 pounds. We got Gottlieb Yedzi. That whole name is a bit of a tongue twister. Anyway, though, in terms of strengths, punch is precise, quick, and rarely misses the chest. Quickness, body type, could fit as a zone-blocking guard if he has the time to develop physically. Snaps out of his stance, accelerates to the second level like a huge tight end. Developmental potential's off the charts if a team's willing to be patient. Natural kick slide, doesn't show any strain or awkwardness. Plays with great balance, very effective in transitions between blocks. NFL caliber athleticism, which easily jumped out against Division II competition. In terms of his weaknesses, though, short, slender, sawed-off body type will be on the bottom rung for NFL offensive tackles. Level of competition will make a lot of teams question how well his strength transitions to the pros. Aggression as a run blocker will have a hard time translating to bigger opponents. Anchoring ability hasn't truly been tested yet. Scheme-specific player won't be a fit for teams that prioritize bulk. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Nick Sajel of the San Francisco 49ers. But overall, you know, very solid prospect for sure. A lot of things to like out of his game for sure. You know, could be an honorable mention for small school studs. You know, someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Pitt, standing 6'5", weighing 321 pounds. We got Carter Warren. So for Carter's strengths, team captain in his final year with Pitt. So he's a leader of men, which is something that Dan Campbell's going to like for sure. Got some locker room presence in there. Also, other than that, excellent build for a tackle, great size and length, snaps out of his stance with adequate urgency, lateral quickness, Plays with loose hips, can adjust swiftly to agile defenders. Stiff jab, stalls out most bull rushes on their way in. Looked much more controlled and nimble in prior years. Physical tools are enticing when everyone is clicking. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he played about 10 pounds heavier in 2022 than in 2021 if you value weight that much. Seemed to have impeded his quickness a little bit. Hands land wide, stays on the outside defenders. Hands and feet get out of sync too easily, especially when he works in the open field. Not a natural power generator, will be relying on his angles and movements as a run blocker. Struggles to control angles, alter a defender's path once he makes contact. Seems lethargic, low energy at times. Balance has too many lapses. Late to process and react when passing off blocks. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Greg Little and the Miami Dolphins. Overall, there are a lot of things to like out of his game. Leader of men for sure. Definitely someone I think the Lions will keep an eye on for sure. So, next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Oregon, standing 6'6", weighing 331 pounds. We got Malasoa Amave Lalu. That whole name's a fucking tongue twister. But anyway, Famala strengths, capable of moving around as both a guard and tackle. Versatility will be a key to sticking on a roster. Excellent frame, prototypical length and bulk. Incredibly light on his feet for such a big man. Great flip fluidity. Allows him to pivot easily as a combo blocker. Crisp power mover, can mirror high-end athletes when his timing's right. Physical ball of clay that can be enticing to some offensive line coaches. Can climb to second level, can hit linebackers or defensive backs on target. In terms of his weaknesses, though, way too antsy with his hands, will overcommit in his pass sets. Aggression can lead to balance issues, make him easy to counter. Late out of his stance on a regular basis. Technique's a roller coaster, lack of polish, alarming for a super senior. Play strikes below average by NFL standards. Tape's abundant with a false start, so he's got to learn to not go false start or go offside. Hands are usually wide. Off target as both a run and pass blocker. Tendency to lean and overcommit can make sustaining blocks in the run game a major problem for him. More of a pile of ingredient than a meal. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Bernhard Rainman at the Indianapolis Colts. Overall, there are a lot of things to like out of his game for sure, but he's got to learn to not take so many damn false start penalties. Like, you're an offensive lineman. You shouldn't be taking a false start. You know what the fucking count is. Like, the only people that should be going offside are defensive linemen. If you can get that under control, maybe someone to keep an eye on. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Boise State, standing 6'6", weighing 312 pounds, we got John Ojukwu. So for John's strengths, he's a build-a-tackle body, great proportions, ready-made strength. Anchor has promising flashes of dealing with a bull rush. Physicality and power allows him to kick inside as a guard. Understands how to use his size and length to buy an extra second or two of control. Quick enough to get downhill, can lead the way as a run blocker. 4.5 years as a starter gives him plenty of experience to lean on. He's also been listed as one of the top sleeper picks of this draft. Mainly largely overlooked on the national radar, but he, 51 games total he started in college for Boise State. Ideal size and length, it won't be lost in the shuffle come draft day. In terms of his weaknesses, though, hands are too often to the side, lacks ideal control over defenders. Lack of foot quickness could make for him a right tackle only. Messy footwork tends to be more about surviving rather than thriving on pass sets. Lets opponents to a chest too often. Sluggish or late to react to hand fighting. Tighten the hips. Can't pivot effectively. Can't land on linebackers with any regularity. Gets on his toes too easily in pass sets. All body, no hands when he's working in space. Inconsistent strength from snap to snap. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Darren Powell with the Detroit Lions. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game for sure. Has a lot of experience starting. Could be some versatility. Maybe someone to keep an eye on 100% for a rotational depth piece. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Baylor, standing 6'6", weighing 304 pounds. We got Connor Galvin. So for Connor's strengths, hard worker in the run game, first step quickness, lateral agility are enough to get the job done most of the time in pass protection. Able to recover his balance effectively against bull rushes. Surprisingly strong anchor, good understanding of angles, works when he works on combo blocks, loses hips, allows him to pivot, can adjust reasonably well. In terms of weaknesses, though, his length looks acceptable, but it's not ideal for a tackle. Hands hang low, unprepared most of the time, struggles to recover if he makes a technical mistake, lacks the length and straight combination to snag and redirect most linebackers in space, can get out of control very quickly if his initial punch misses, slow twitch athlete, play strength will need time to take a major step forward to deal with NFL hand fighting, has some awareness lapses as a run blocker, can get ball carriers blown up, may need to move inside due to his issues with speed rushes. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Yanni Kajust of the New England Patriots. But overall, a lot of things to like in this game for sure. Very good in the run game too. You know, maybe a rotational depth piece for running downs, maybe. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Washington, standing 6'7", weighing 335 pounds. We got Jackson Kirkland. So for Jackson's strengths, length's adequate for a tackle. 5 years as a starter, including some time at left tackle and left guard and right guard. So some versatility right there. Nimble athlete for his size, mirroring ability and pass protection. Some great has promising flashes. Team captain, great college resume, so a great leader of men. Stays engaged through reps, won't let defenders get easy late wins. Anchor sturdy despite his odd body type. Initial placement with his punch is salvageable. In terms of his weaknesses though, rail thin lower body, gonna set off alarm bells for scouts. Incredibly top heavy player. Tends to fire his hands early, leads to whiffs. Struggles to recover if he makes a mistake in timing or technique. He'll be 25 years old at the start of his rookie season. He'll need to drop weight, though, and play closer to 310 to handle NFL speed. Can't gear down, redirect his momentum once he builds up speed. Game hasn't progressed much over the last few years. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Cole Boozer, a retired offensive lineman tackle. Overall, though, a lot of things to like out of his game for sure, you know. Has a lot of versatility and a leader of men. A lot of things that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes preach on for the roster. You know, I think someone that definitely they'll be keeping an eye on for sure. And the final offensive tackle before we move on to guards, we have hailing out of UCF, standing 6'9", weighing 322 pounds. We got Ryan Swoboda. So for Ryan's strengths, coordinated with his hands and feet, good knockback as a run blocker, stays composed with his hand usage, won't overreact or land. Play strength remains steady even when his defenders get in his chest. Closest surprisingly well when coming downhill at linebackers. Understands how to position himself and control angles as a run blocker. In terms of weaknesses, though, his size could work against him at times as he's one of the tallest offensive tackles to enter the draft in recent memory. Somewhat slow out of his stance, will struggle against speed rushes. Struggles to gear down and change directions in space. Not a twitchy athlete in the slightest. Balance issues will be more prominent in the NFL level. He can get exposed against good push-pull moves. Lack of guard versatility will hurt his odds of sticking on the back of a roster. More tool than technique, late to adjust when his pass rushes work back across his body. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Cornelius Lucas of the Washington Commanders. Overall, one of the things to like out of his game, very big, good size at 6'9". You know, if he can get some versatility, maybe someone I could keep an eye on. Other than that, though, could be a solid rotational depth piece at tackle. Now moving on to guards. The first one we're going to go over here, hailing out of Old Dominion, standing 6'6", weighing 311 pounds. We got Nick Saldiveri. So for Nick's strengths, great feel for manipulating his hands and feet together. Able to settle his feet quickly after getting knocked out of platform. Not a shock and awe puncher, but he packs enough to knock defenders off their path. Versatilities will be his calling card. Moved much lighter than he looks. Always playing with a great center of balance. Rarely gets overcommitted. Quick to take advantage of sloppy technique from pass rushes. Quick eyes when he feels twist. Has to trade off blocks. Deep position of a 10-year veteran. Flexible lower body, good leverage for his size. He's also been listed as one of the top sleeper picks in this draft because he saw most of his college snaps come at right tackle. But he'll be kicking inside that guard as a pro and has the polished technique and good movement skills that should translate immediately. In terms of his weaknesses, though, style of play and average lateral agility push him inside at the NFL level. Tends to give up too much ground against power rushes. Modest lower body strength and base. Gets a bit bundled up with movement and pass protection. Limits him against longer pass rushes. Capable second-level speed, but not an ideal athlete in space. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Luke Goedeke of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Overall, though, there's a lot of things to like out of Nick's game. You know, a lot of positive things too. You know, could be a solid guard piece for sure. Definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of TCU, standing 6'4", weighing 330 pounds, we got Steve Avila. So for Steve, he's your prototype intangibles guard. In terms of strengths, incredibly versatile player, worked out at all but left tackle during his college career, so a lot of versatility. NFL body, a lot of bulk pack into his torso. Chest eats up punches, won't get shell-shocked by defenders. Covers ground well as a polar, carries his momentum to the linebackers. Effective down blocker, can blow holes with his power. 2-year team captain at TCU. Offensive line Ironman, so a great leader in men. Good base and pass protection. Fluidity is adequate for a big man. In terms of weaknesses, though, carries a little extra weight that may slow him a bit too much. Too high coming out of his stance. Lacks the flexibility to stay low through contact. Opens the door too easily in pass protection due to his late hands and feet. Has stretches where he gets too reliant using his size to maul opponents rather than maintaining proper positioning and angles. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Ben Cleveland of the Baltimore Ravens. Overall, though, there are a lot of things to like out of Steve's game. You know, a lot of versatility, leader of men. Definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. Alright, so the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Clemson, standing 6'2", weighing 305 pounds, we got Jordan McFadden. So for Jordan's strengths, extremely long arms are a game changer against most D linemen. Footwork steady under duress, won't lose his balance when resetting against power. Rarely loses the leverage bow due to his naturally low-cut build. Punch is accurate, halts most pass rushes in their tracks. Effective polar with power to clear out holes in the run game. Lower body and upper body, it works in conjunction. Rarely overextends and puts himself on skates. In terms of weaknesses, though, short and stout build with odd proportions. Limited movement skills limits his ability to play tackle. He may not pass the eye test, though. Lacks the agility to quickly shift his angles or mere twitchy rushes. Has some tightness in his upper body that limits how he can manipulate his hands. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Tremaine Ankrum of the Los Angeles Rams. Overall, though, there are a lot of things to like out of his game. Some good footwork for sure. You know, someone to keep an eye on possibly for sure is a rotational depth piece. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Syracuse, standing 6'5", weighing 324 pounds. We got Matthew Bergeron. So for Matthew Bergeron, turns Matthew's strengths, incredible impressive balance, lower body control through contact, leverages himself well in pass protection, anchor can hold up when a pass rush is attacking a center line, good grip strength when he clamps down on defenders, pays you with his punch, doesn't rush his hands into contact, smooth second level blocker. In terms of his weaknesses though, boxy frame, average length, doesn't have ideal body type for an offensive tackle despite it being his native position. Very short steps, which limits his range while protecting the edge. Hands can get a bit too tight, opens him up to counters. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Ben Schlow of the Tennessee Titans. Overall, though, a lot of things to like out of Bergeron's game. Had some great balance, a lot of things to like out of it. Definitely someone I would keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Alabama, standing 6'2", weighing 317 pounds. We got Emil Ikayer. So for Emil, he's your prototype pulling and trapping guard. So he's very good at pulling and trapping you in. In terms of strengths, pretty strong at the point of attack. Stonewalls bull rushes thanks to his combination of play strength and balance. Unnaturally long for his frame. Hands locked down like iron clamps when they land on target. He won't coast or take snaps off. Creates consistent short yardage push in the run game. Finisher mentality and presence in the pass and run game with a team-leading 31 knockdown blocks in 2022. Techniques reliable from snap to snap. Rarely puts himself in bad positions as a result. Able to use his upper body power, can torque and redirect defenders off their angles. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his issues exist with agility and plodding footwork. Plays with a limited range of motion, will have a hard time hitting reach blocks. Style isn't going to be fit for teams relying on zone blocking. Gets stuck in the mud, slips off blocks too frequently. Lateral agility is lacking, poor recovery ability when he's being off the snap. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to John Miller, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Overall, though, a lot of things to like out of his game. Does a lot of things right. Plays the game very violent and nasty. Some you'd like out of an offensive lineman. Maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Washington, standing 6'6", weighing 315 pounds. We got Henry Bainvalu. So for Henry's strengths, capable build to work as either a guard or a tackle. Rare combination of side speed and movement. Hand snap to the target, adjust with urgency. Final hands and mindset. Hustles in space with layout to make blocks. Impressive first step coming downhill. Can reliably land against linebackers as a combo blocker. He's praised for his professional approach. Has the mental game for the NFL. In terms of weaknesses, though, tall for an interior lineman, plays upright the boot. Medical history is likely going to take him off a lot of boards. His power took a major hit in his final year as a result of him dropping over 30 pounds. Balance issues have become a lot more prevalent this last year at Washington. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Joshua Ezeudu of the New York Giants. Overall, though, a lot of things to like out of his game, though, but has a lot of injury questions for sure, which are going to be a lot of red flags, I don't know I don't know. I feel like you can honestly do a little bit better with other offensive linemen. I think that could be a lot more meaner and nastier than him, I think the medical history is just going to make me say pass on him. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Ole Miss, standing 6'4", weighing 317 pounds, we got Nick Brocker. So for Nick's strengths, he plays low to the ground with better pad level than most of his opponents. Capable puller, doesn't strain to hit his target, stays engaged, works hard to sustain at all times. Instincts and his processing quickness are pro-ready. Terms his weaknesses, though, average arm length, which limits his position flexibility, highly likely renders him as guard only when NFL GMs make their final pre-draft ratings. Tends to lean when his chest gets ahead of his legs. Loses leverage and power. Hands lack much of a range of impact. Limits his ability to control opponents or redirect. Lower body quickness was less impressive on his senior tape. And he's been listed as a player that could disappoint the NFL level because he was once considered a potential first-round offensive tackle by a lot of draft rankings and scouts. But he had a down year as a senior, and his lack of arm length spelled a lot of danger even after he moved to guard. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Ryan Bates of the Buffalo Bills. Overall, there's a lot of things to like out of his game. Can always play low, but, just had a miserable final year. Even when he translated to guard from offensive tackle, which that could be a problem. Honestly, I feel like you could do a lot better with other players, so I'd probably say pass on him too. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Chattanooga, standing 6'5", weighing 332 pounds, we got McClendon Curtis. So for McClendon's strengths, gigantic individual, finds for arms, play strength translates well in the game he played against FBS competition throughout his career. Gets good extension, makes the most of its lengths. Power with both his upper and lower body checks out. Played some offensive tackles in his senior year. May be able to get a team out of a game at right tackle. In terms of his weaknesses, though, questionable technique. Will take some time to adjust as a rookie. Gets out over his feet and loses control as a result. Not fluid in his hips, will struggle to pivot, can cut off angles against stunts. Marginal quickness will be an issue. Didn't physically dominate FCS competition like most draftable small school prospects did. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to free agent guard Quentin Spain. Overall, though, there are a lot of things to like out of his game. Did pretty well with what he did. Overall, maybe someone to keep an eye on here for sure. And the final guard we're going to go over in this video before we move on to centers, we have hailing out of Oregon, standing 6'4", weighing 328 pounds, we got TJ Bass. So for TJ's strengths, natural guard body, plenty of mass packed into his frame, quick to trade off blocks, can recognize what defenses are bringing, hands are firm, hard to bat away once he lands on target, drops his anchor effectively, has both the core strength and the balance to lock up power rushes. He was first to title with 2,211 career snaps played at Oregon, with 1,379 of them being at left tackle and then 824 at left guard, so he can play anywhere on that left side of the ball. In terms of his weaknesses, though, short arms can get him in trouble on a regular basis. Has no chance of playing any offensive tackle at the NFL level. Phone boot style, lack of high-end athleticism makes him unappealing to a lot of teams. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Ben Bredeson of the New York Giants. Overall, there are a lot of things to like out of his game. Has some versatility and a lot of good experience at guard. Someone to keep an eye on as like a rotational depth piece, for sure. And now on the centers. The first one we're going to go over here, hailing out of Michigan, standing 6'3", weighing 307 pounds. We got Olusegun Oluwatimi. That whole name's a bit of a tongue twister. But anyway, Olus, he's your prototype run-blocking center. So very good in the run game. Terms of strengths, wide base, powerful lower body, allows him to lock up pass rushes, can turn them off angles. Natural fit for a power-heavy blocking scheme, lets him capitalize on his strength. Can take on nose tackles by himself, can hold his own. Active eyes, always searching for whooping defenders and pass protection. Style and body type, could surface a guard. Quick enough to close distance, can land blocks in space. Combination of strength and body control allows him to adjust angles without losing any control. Makes the most of his length, uses his hands effectively. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his feet usually lug behind when he has to slide and adjust to stunts or blitzes. Athleticism won't do him any favors. Struggles to get lateral, turn corners as a reach blocker. Style relatively scheme specific. Limits his option. Teams that prefer power inside. Hand quickness, though, isn't ideal. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Trey Hill of the Cincinnati Bengals. Overall, though, a lot of things to like out of his game. Very good presence for the run game. Definitely, and you know, if he has the versatility to play guard as well, definitely someone I would keep an eye on for sure. And the final center, the final offensive lineman, the final player we're going to go over in this video, hailing out of Notre Dame, standing 6'5", weighing 307 pounds, we got Jaret Patterson. So for Jared, he's the prototype intangibles center. In terms of strength, tough bind run blocker, drives his legs, can bury opponents in the ground, plays with good leverage, lower body flexibility, stays calm with hand usage, won't force an early punch, reliable with sustaining blocks through adversity, extremely violent towards players who relax mid-play or try reckless moves against him, takes good angles, rarely overruns his target in space, much more controlled with his technique and timing as a center, generates surprising amount of power in close quarters, play strikes dependable, can hold his ground against power on most occasions. Team captain and heart of Notre Dame's line, so definitely a leader of men and a good locker room presence. In terms of his weaknesses, though, 77-inch wingspan's a problem in protection, rates among the shortest in this offensive line draft class. Lacked the length, brings a center-only label. Struggled early in the season at guard. Limited foot quickness, lateral agility. Jump in competition and limited quickness. In pie, early NFL backup duty. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Michael Bennett of the Green Bay Packers. Overall, there are a lot of things to like out of his game. A great leader of men, plays violently. A lot of things that Dan Campbell likes for sure. You know, if he can play well at guard, you know, and offers some versatility, maybe someone's a rotational depth piece 100%. You know, definitely like him for sure. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here for this Detroit Lions NFL draft preview. And that wraps it up for the draft previews on the offensive side of the ball, because the remaining draft previews are going to be only on defense and special teams for the rest from here on out. But yeah, there are some very interesting offensive lineman prospects to keep an eye on in rounds 4 through 7 of the draft, as I think the Lions are probably going to pick up an offensive lineman somewhere in there too, if they don't pick up one in round 2 and day 2 and like rounds 2 or 3. You know, I think 100% they could look at one in like day 3 for sure. You know, I think it really depends on how the board shapes up after the first 2 days of the draft. Since really from the since really round 4 on down in the draft, it's a total fucking crapshoot. But anyway, though, that wraps up for this draft preview. So next time on the draft previews, we're going to take a look at the defensive line for rounds 4 through 7 of the draft and take a look at that side of the ball. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up for this preview. That's all I got to say. Hope everyone's a great day, and I'll see you all whatever I make next. I'm out.